Hi, thank you for joining me. For this reading, I am going to be doing Contact Changes Everything by Jason Gray. 2/1/2026, 6026 Anno Lucis, 12:13 GMT -6, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Truth is effortless in isolation. In silence, it arranges itself beautifully. It feels coherent, aligned, even luminous. When you are alone, nothing contradicts you. Nothing resists you. Nothing asks anything of you. Alone, clarity behaves. Truth was never meant to remain untouched. Truth only becomes real when it enters contact. The moment another human enters the field, the conditions change. A second nervous system appears, a second history, a second set of expectations, fears, reflexes, desires. Suddenly, what felt solid inside you is no longer theoretical. It must now exist between bodies. This is where most truths collapse, not because they are false, but because they were never embodied. They lived safely in thought, safely in intention, safely in private resolve. Contact does not care what you believe internally. Contact asks only one question. Can your truth remain intact when another person reacts? The instant you are seen, something ancient wakes up. Your body registers risk before your mind can narrate it. You feel it immediately, a tightening in the chest, a holding of breath, a subtle leaning forward, a reflex to soften, explain, preempt, adjust. This is not indecision, this is conditioning surfacing. Conditioning does not show itself in solitude, it requires friction. It requires another person's presence to activate. That is why self-awareness alone is never enough. You can understand yourself deeply and still abandon yourself reflexively the moment someone else is involved. Here's the truth most people never see. Do not abandon yourself. Here's the truth most people never see. You do not abandon yourself because you lack courage. You abandon yourself because your nervous system learned that connection required disappearance. At some point, early, quietly, repeatedly, you learned harmony was safer than honesty. Acceptance was more valuable than precision, and being liked was more important than being real. Your system learned to scan constantly for tone, for mood, for danger, for withdrawal. It learned to adjust you to maintain connection. This adjustment happens so fast it feels like personality. It is not personality, it is protection. Contact reveals the difference between truth you value and truth you practice. Truth you value feels good inside you. Truth you practice survives interaction. Truth you value dissolves when tension rises. Truth you practice stays present without becoming aggressive or apologetic. This is not about confrontation. It is about presence without self-erasure. Most people think honesty means saying everything. It does not. Embodied truth is often quieter than that. It is slower, more measured, less dramatic. It does not rush to be understood. It does not defend itself. It does not over-explain to secure safety. Embodied truth allows misunderstanding to exist without collapsing. That is the difference. Watch what happens in you during contact. Watch the micro movements when you soften a sentence before it is needed, when you agree prematurely, when you suppress a no to preserve ease, when your body knows something is off but your mouth overrides it. None of this is failure. It is data. Contact is not exposing your weakness. It is revealing your training. Most people do not lose themselves in crisis. They lose themselves in conversation, in tone management, in emotional labor, in anticipation of reaction, in subtle self-editing. They leave their body to maintain harmony. They leave the present moment to protect the future. They leave truth to preserve identity. They do it automatically. Awareness begins when this becomes visible. Precision is the new integrity. No bluntness, no performance. Not bluntness, not performance, not moral superiority. Precision. Precision sounds like, this does not feel aligned for me. I need to pause before responding. I am not available for that. Something in me is not a yes. No justification, no apology, no story. Just contact with self maintained in relationship. This is where fear intensifies because your precision removes the camouflage. You can no longer hide behind tone. You can no longer outsource responsibility to explanation. You can no longer disappear into politeness. You are simply there. Being there changes everything. Some people adjust, some withdraw, some resist, some reveal themselves. You do not control which happens, and that is the point. Contact is not about outcome management. It is about self-contact under relational pressure. Can you remain with your body when someone disagrees? Can you remain grounded when someone is disappointed? Can you remain honest when connection feels threatened? This is not a skill. It is a capacity, and capacity grows only through contact. You are not asked to confront anyone today. You are asked to observe yourself in proximity. Notice where your breath changes, where your body tightens, where your impulse is to manage rather than remain. This is not about correcting yourself. It is about staying in your body, staying in the moment, staying present without disappearance. This is where truth lives now, not as an idea, not as a belief, but as the felt continuity of self across contact. If you can do one thing today, let it be this. Do not abandon yourself in order to keep the room comfortable. Let the room adjust. Let silence exist. Let reaction occur. Let truth stand without armor. This is embodiment. Once embodiment begins, there is no return to abstraction. Notice who you become when another person is present. That is where truth demands embodiment. This is not a lesson, it is a crossing. Once crossed, every relationship becomes a mirror you can no longer unsee. Jason Gray. And that is so true. That is so true. And again, I think it goes in line with the reading I did yesterday on your nervous system, kind of deciding for you. Once you've aligned and balanced your nervous system and really learn to listen to your body and pay attention to it and, kind of slow the moments down and slow your breathing down, you really can see where there's capacity, where there isn't, and what you need to lean toward and what you don't. And everything at that point becomes holding your authority, remaining stable, integrated, and aligned into who you are. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.